Here we
a
go.
weird Robot and the Bears song. But like, since we've been on pandemic Zoom, meetings, I just haven't had the right energy to,
We're live, by the way, but yeah,
to do
we
it.
could talk about this
Oh,
energy.
You
We could talk
know,
about this energy.
you know,
Uh,
you know, I'm just like I'm an old-fashioned in-person kind of guy. Like I like to, you know, be in the same room with people, but sometimes you can't do it. But so there's a compromise. I'm not singing, but we're zooming.
resuming. There, I sang. There we
There
go.
it is.
that was great.
Yes.
That was very elf-like from the movie Elf, where he's
Oh my
like,
gosh,
"I'm singing."
I forgot to like post everything on Instagram. I'm gonna do that, ago. But welcome to Robot and the Bear podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Chu,
I'm the
along
other
with
one.
Eric Nakamura. And today's special guest is Mr. Jeff
Jeff
Soto.
Soto.
Hey, thank you for
I
having me on. Hey,
we have been
is this shit live?
This shit is live.
Oh,
It's
really?
live.
Oh, cool.
So we record it audio wise, and it's also live. So it'll be on YouTube, but then I'll do an audio version that's for podcasts.
So, do you have like a
Right.
window open right now, and you can see how many people are about to watch it? Probably
All two of us
all two of us.
at the
I'm going to
moment.
use the
It'll get
VF1
better.
image as your thumbnail to promote the show. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure.
It feels kind of like a throwback to the classic, Jeff Soto, like, robots and goodness,
Yeah.
So,
It is. It is kind of like a throwback
so
to all that old stuff.
Sorry. We're getting to a slow start here, but it's okay.
I mean, I could try to.
We're good.
Should I advertise it on my social
It,
media somewhere?
if you'd like,
know
we
what?
just we're putting it out now a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little late, So here, let
Yeah.
me put that in next.
For anyone listening to this, this
It's
is
just
this is
it's
just
this is
exciting.
this is the business part, man.
Yeah,
Business.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just you're episode number 70, by the way.
But, yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, I missed 69.
Yeah, you missed
No,
69.
you did. You
Yeah.
tried, but you blew it.
That's okay. Oh.
Yeah. So Jeff,
Yes.
what have you been working on lately?
Oh shit. That's kind of like a hard question to ask.
That was very very easy for me
It's
to
easy
ask.
to ask.
Yeah.
It's hard to answer.
Well,
you
I know it's
know-
multi-pronged, right? It's multi-pronged, I guess you would say.
I feel like for for the pandemic being such a important thing, I feel like I don't know, what am I trying to say? It feels like I've been working on a lot of different things, like 20 different things. Like I've really spread myself very thin in a weird way, and it's not all it's not all art stuff. It's like working on my yard and my cactus garden, and doing family things, and watching TV and reading, and I guess you asked what am I working on.
Yeah.
So,
Well, working is where you're putting your energy towards. So, all of those things. If it's all of those things, then it's all of those things. But I know, first off, I'm curious before we jump into art work, this cactus garden. I've seen ups and downs. I've seen where the wind blew and they got screwed up, and then I've been seeing so many iterations. They're getting burned. They're too hot.
yeah.
There's just so much going on there.
Well, I live in Riverside, which is kind of like a suburb of Los Angeles, and the weather here is, I think, a little bit hotter than LA. It's a
By a
little
lot?
dry. Not a lot. I mean, it's like
10
it's
degrees more,
it's-
right?
no. I mean, it's not that different from Pasadena very often.
Which
You know,
is
like,
10 degrees higher
Which
than
is 10
where I'm
okay,
at.
okay,
Or 15,
okay.
maybe
But
15.
I think of Pasadena and LA as the same kind of like area.
Okay.
Is that
Maybe
weird?
a little. Yeah, I think it's just way hotter over there than here, where I'm at.
It's
Yeah.
it's sort of inland. Let me mute my phone here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and we, in Southern California, we have a very big like cactus community, a big cactus and succulent and really gardening culture out here. And part of that is because of the weather. Like one of the capitals of the cactus world is down in like North County, San Diego.
Oh.
And so that's not that far from where I'm at. And it's a little cooler there than here, but and I apologize. This might be really extremely boring if you're
No way,
if
man.
you're here
No
to
way.
listen about art.
Cactus can look like art and sculpture to me. So, and equally, when
yeah.
I went to I visited Takashi Murakami in at his studio in Saitama. This dude has a greenhouse that's filled with cactus, all different kinds of cactus, stuff I've never seen that look like it's from another world. Like I was like, I've never seen these cactus, and they're all from like Texas and Mexico. But he's got them in a greenhouse. So I mean, artists
Right.
like plants sometimes because they're informs their own work. It looks like you're doing something similar.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got into it about 22 years ago because
Okay.
they look like little sculptures. I got them from Target, from Target. They had Target. Hey, it's an art podcast. We have to be a little fancy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
French.
We gotta
French.
like, you know,
France.
take it up a
Yeah.
notch.
Yes.
But they, you know, you'd go in there and there'd be these little cool plants with very sculptural qualities to them, and you could collect all these little ones, and they were just really inspiring to me. And so all through, I guess my years at Art Center, like the late 90s and early 2000s, I was driving around Pasadena, and I was taking clippings, where I shouldn't. Like if I saw a house with really cool plants, I'd be like, I'm gonna pull over there and just kind of act like I'm getting something out of my car, but I'm gonna snip a little piece off that plant. And I did that I mean, I shouldn't even say this, but it was 20 years ago, but I did it at the Huntington, the LA Arboretum, Cal State Fullerton, anywhere I went that had like a kind of a cool garden, I would go take.
But you weren't. I mean, you didn't kill anything. Like you
No,
didn't.
no.
You didn't poach the whole plant. You just took a piece of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I guess it's not okay, but it's not so bad as cutting one out of the ground and taking it. Right. So.
I mean, it's.
I give you a pass.
Yeah, it's bad now. It's bad now. I mean,
Yeah.
I would definitely wouldn't do it now, but yeah, that's kind of how I got the base of my collection 20 years ago, and man, I think when I look back at the plants I've collected, they kind of followed my art career. Like they kind of like died out. I started having a lot of plants die because I was living in an apartment, and we had kids, and so I was neglecting the plants. I was very focused like a laser on my art career, and a lot of the plants died. And then as I've gotten older and I had a little more time the last 5 or 6 years, I started buying more plants and kind of like taking that hobby back up. And now I have more money to do it. So, and of course, prices for everything went like ape shit during the pandemic. $50 cactus, which is already a lot. Now they're like $300 or $400 for these, slow growing exotic plants.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures for years, I think, and I think I'm just like I'm a lurker, so I've lurked and looked at how much cactus you have, and I've seen some ups and downs. I think there was a wind issue once, and things fell over, and then I've seen a lot of your cactus pictures. Let's put it that way, but it's always exciting to me. So I'm
Santa Ana winds.
Yeah, always into it. So it's just kind of exciting to me. But
yeah, I mean, shit happens.
Yeah,
shit happens. And,
can you talk about how that affects? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, we get like, anyone who lives in Southern California knows we get the Santa Ana winds, and they blow trees down. They damage property. Well, do they damage property?
Sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, if a tree falls on your house,
True.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. Can you talk about the cactus and how, like, aside you having time and kind of working with them concurrent with your career, do they inform your work in any way, or by let's?
Yeah.
Because they're kind of alien looking. So.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm seeing like some of them make really weird flowers. and they all live in really inhospitable places, you know, where there's not a lot of rainfall, and so they're just interesting. They're survivors. They're ancient. They're kind of like the further evolution of plants. You know, you have like the leafy plants, then some of them grew into they evolved to hold water longer. They evolved to live in hot and dry environments, and they also, you know, the spines are you know, people think they're there to protect them from being eaten by animals, but they're really there to shade the plant from sun. And when there is rain, they're kind of designed so the rain droplets go straight down and
Oh,
kind of like water the plant.
wow.
So yeah, they pop into my artwork, and I, I think more frequently the last few years I've kind of started putting in plants, but it's always like my take on the plants. It's like, oh, here's a cactus I really like, but either because I can't draw it good enough to make it look exactly like the cactus, or because I want to change it up and I want it to be kind of like a fantasy environment, you know, I will change it a little bit.
Cool.
So yeah,
No,
it works out.
awesome. Have you had a lot of time to just actually put brush to board or canvas or whatnot in the last year during this pandemic time?
I have, but I, you know, kind of like what Luke was saying, it hasn't been the most inspiring time. And I think I was kind of bummed out about that, because when the pandemic first was, you know, a thing, when it first started happening, I was very stressed out because I got two kids, you know, I got a wife, we have, I'd get stressed out going to the grocery store, you know,
Oh, it was stressful, man. I
like,
didn't
oh
like going
shit,
either.
there's no fucking meat. There's no meat here. There's no fucking eggs. There's no
No,
milk.
no bread, no flour, no
There was
tons of shit. Yeah,
there was no, yeah, no bread.
yeah,
I was like, what am
yeah.
I going to feed my kids? And I think even though that resolved itself, it seemed like within a couple weeks, it seemed like things got a lot easier. I think I carried that. I'm sure a lot of artists have the same kind of story, but I think I carried that stress. I should say a lot of people probably have that still in their head a little bit. And so at first I was like, yes, I'm going to have all this time. I don't, you know, I teach. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be home. I have a whole semester of just, you know, Zoom meetings. And that's pretty cool because I don't have to be there, and I could take advantage of this time and work on my own art. And I just found myself like watching TV a lot and reading a lot, you know, and like, and I was also very glued to news, because it was like, you know, the last, especially the last half of the year, it was pretty fucking crazy.
It was crazy.
Last year.
It
So
was,
I was
amazingly entertaining.
It was entertaining, and it was also scary, and it was also it I don't know, just kind of like opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it was just a big mix of emotions and craziness, and I never found a good rhythm to make art. I did a lot of drawings, but I don't know if they were. I was looking back at the drawings, and I'm like, I don't know if these are good drawings. They're like, they're angsty, but not in like a cool like teenage angsty cool way. It was like the drawings are kind of depressing. Like, I don't know if they're gonna be made into paintings. I don't know. So I feel like that whole year maybe I didn't really like flourish like I wanted to, you know. And it was okay because everyone. Did I freeze up? You guys froze up for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
just
we're
a
good.
moment, but we're good.
But yeah, we're good.
Okay. But yeah, it was just, I think for everyone, it was a kind of a fucked up year.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, for sure. Goes without saying, basically now, but yeah, just wondering, like, so because certain artists seem to like handle it in different ways, but I am noticing like general, like I'm like, oh, look at all this time artists have right now, and it didn't seem like it translated into like this really useful, you know, oh, I'm gonna make 20 paintings now that this is going on. It seemed like actually no, it didn't work out that way.
You know, for me, like, since I teach, and if you're viewers or listeners don't know, I teach at Riverside City College. I teach drawing and painting, studio art classes, and it was, looking back, it was like a lot of work to transition from an in-person model where we were, we're all used to that. I've been teaching 10 years, and you kind of have your lessons down. You know exactly how to teach, and you know how to show the students what they need to know. And then going to online, like I had so many technical problems, like the Wi-Fi doesn't work in my garage. So I'm trying to teach charcoal drawing, which is messy. And I'm like, I got to bring this shit in the house. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So I ended up making a bunch of videos, like 20 videos across all 3 of my classes. And it was just a crazy time suck, just being on, what's the program? The Apple program?
Final
I
Cut?
don't know. No, it's the
iMovie?
Yeah, iMovie. I'm on a computer.
iMovie?
I think
Yeah,
it's called
iMovie, GarageBand. I don't know.
I think it's just called, is it just called Movie? Oh, it is
iMovie?
iMovie.
Movie?
Yeah, it's iMovie.
iMovie. Gotcha.
But like I became an expert on that. So I became such an expert that I forgot what the fucking program's called. But looking back, that was such a time suck. I mean, I'm not complaining because I get paid for that, but it was like every day I was filming parts of demos, and I'd have to script them out. I'd have to
Wow.
refilm things. I had problems with my my computer, and it was a lot of work.
Right.
But I would say this last semester, which I just ended the semester today, it was a lot easier because this is the 3rd semester that I've taught online. So
Wow.
I kind of figured it all out. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. There's going to be a whole generation of students that had either like their senior year of high school was online, or we have a lot of students at the college that have had a whole year. Like they came in last fall, and they've had 2 semesters of college level education online. And so we're like, wow, this is, we don't know what it's going to be like next semester. Did these students learn enough in art to take the painting class or the watercolor painting class? I think they'll all be fine, but yeah.
Wow.
Luke, it looks like you have something like very important to say. Like you've been
No.
pondering.
I was just thinking about like what that means, right? Like, to have spent like an entire year, like it's unfathomable to me simply because of the fact that I didn't, experience anything like that throughout my formative college years. And, just trying to like, like, I mean, we were out earlier, I was just complaining about like how I can't like sing the Robot and the Bears song because, I'm doing it over Zoom and I just don't have that same energy, but like, I'm trying to imagine like what that's like, for something as hands-on as, taking art lessons, because like one of the in my eyes, one of the biggest parts of taking any kind of visual communication or creative class is the crit wall. I mean, where everyone puts their work up and you just rip into it. And, it's such a, like, that's where I feel like the most learning happens, and, like, would I be prepared for, to take the second year courses? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure I would be, like it's maybe people will be, a lot of these these students who are going through that are going to like, be greeted with a pretty rude awakening when they finally are able to get back into school and do their thing.
And they're going to find out they're like a year, basically, or what, 3/4 of a year behind. They got like 25% of their education, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we hope that they're getting way more than 25%. They're getting all the same lessons, but it's like, you really can't replace a a teacher coming up and saying, oh, hey, fix that, like, check that out, look, look at that a little differently, and fix your lines, you can't really like replicate that because they're not drawing in front of you. And we were actually it was suggested that we make everything asynchronous so that they can take the instruction part of the class whenever they can, because a lot of students, there's equity issues. A lot of students have to work. A lot of students can't get online at certain times. They might have really bad internet, and so it it was really like they're taking the class kind of on their own. And I made the best videos I could make, and yeah, we'll see next semester.
Oh. But
Bummer Town.
One of the things that I kind of going on to a totally different subject right now. One of the things that like we haven't really discussed on this podcast, which I know, Jeff, which is the reason why I wanted you specifically, Jeff, to be on the show, is the subject of non-fungible tokens. And you're like, I remember like, it's when it started happening, I was just kind of like, okay, well, I don't know any of these artists. I have no idea who Beeple is. But like then like, but then Jeff, you took a dive in there. You jumped right into the pool. And I think you have like, since then, I think Eric and I both know a variety of different artists who have participated, in the NFT world with different philosophies. But yours seems to be kind of leaning more toward like the classic sense, like when we think of like artists selling their, artwork on, the NFT market. Yours is kind of like toward like a classical philosophy of NFT trading and selling. And I was wondering if you could like, tell us how you got into it, and
yeah.
Like some of your experiences with that.
Yeah, it's funny when Eric asked what I've been doing recently. I was like, I talk to my wife about this all the time, and she's like, yes, NFTs, cryptocurrency, and I get where she's coming from, because it's kind of on my mind a lot, because it's exciting, it's interesting. But I was telling her, I was like, wow, I think I've been kind of like following this thing like since the beginning of the year. So this is almost like half a year, but it feels like it's been like 2 or 3 years of this shit, But yeah, to go back, like, so yeah, non-fungible token. And you can watch a YouTube video if the viewers and listeners aren't sure what all this stuff is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're into art, you have to have known and heard of
right.
what an NFT is at this point. If you haven't heard of an NFT and you're doing art, come on, then you're just not paying attention to current day culture. It means you're just behind, in my opinion.
Yeah. You're right.
By now, everybody knows what it is, and if you don't, wow, you're just behind.
Or at least have a general idea.
Yeah.
You're right, and it is very divisive amongst artists and people. So, but yeah, I heard about it first probably maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and I heard about it as a way to not for digital art, but as a way to verify and authenticate artwork. So like you do a canvas, and then you would have a non-fungible token that went along with that. I pictured like a sticker or something that went on the back with like a barcode.
Yeah, QR code,
something
barcode, whatnot, right?
Yeah, that was written into the blockchain, so it's there forever, and that's kind of what. Yeah. That's a good
idea. That's a good idea, right? Like I don't know if that's what's being practiced, but that's kind of what I see as a very practical usage that any artist should agree with. That it's a good thing, right?
Well, there was a company that was doing that, and so I feel like I delete my emails, but I feel like they approached me and said, "Is this something you're interested in?" And
I mean, it should be that should be free. Like you should be able to do it yourself, and it should be free. But I don't know.
I remember thinking that's kind of a cool thing if the gallery wants to keep track of work. But then I was like, well, how does that work if the gallery's doing it with the artist? And so anyway, I didn't really think much of it, but I got into cryptocurrency a little bit, like back in like 2017 when there was a bunch of hype. And of course I bought it when it was pretty high. And then it dropped for, like 3 years or whatever. And it kind of got me some experience, and I kind of understood blockchain and cryptocurrency. But it was a joke. My brother Tim and I, we were just like, I think he put like $1,000 into it. And for those 3 years, it was worth, I don't know, like $100 or a couple $100. And we're just like, this fucking sucks, And then all of a sudden it went up, and we're like, hey, wait. But I didn't think of it that much until another podcast that I was listening to. It was Clean Break by Matt Gondek.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know that one. And his podcast is very like business centric. So he talks to artists, but he's like, okay, how'd you do this? How'd you get to the next level? And which I like about it. I love listening to business podcasts, business of art. And he interviewed the owners of Nifty Gateway, which is
wow.
Yeah, he was one of the
that's Winklevoss twins.
It was
it's right. Nifty Gateway's the Winklevoss twins, correct?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's okay. There's two sets of twins. There's twins that own Gemini, and there's twins that sold Nifty to Gemini, but I think they still run it.
I'm not sure. The Winklevoss twins are like pretty famous, and I think they were or are involved with Nifty Gateway, and they're not all loved, but they're really big in the crypto. They're big in the crypto world.
Yeah, I feel like I want to say like their last names are Cockfoster.
Okay.
Which if the Cockfoster brothers are listening, that's a rad last name. I like that. I love that. Cockfoster.
Cockfoster?
Yeah. Like a chicken.
Yeah.
Fostering chickens.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway,
yeah.
I'll shut up.
Mine's Ballsack Prison. What's your last name? I don't know.
Anyway, he interviewed these two owners, and it was really interesting because Matt was an early artist on that platform, and the interview was really good because I don't think he understood it totally. He was like, well, that kind of makes sense to me, but can you tell me more? And it was a good interview. And I texted Matt. I said, hey, I'm interested in this NFT thing. And he's like, oh, you should contact the twins. And so I put it on my to-do list, right? Like in November. And it was just something that was kind of like, I don't know, I didn't really get to because I didn't really feel like, I felt like, well, it's mostly digital art. I'm more of a painter. Mm-hmm. I don't know if if it pertains to me, but it's interesting. And I apologize, you're getting the long version of how I got into this.
This is great. This is great.
Okay, good. And so I think something happened it was right before the Beeple, the big 6 million or 60 million or
69
69 million.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it.
69 million. And it was I want to say it was a week before that, and they were talking about the auction or something, and I was like, oh shit, I kind of want to get in on this, but it seems like a lot of artists on my Instagram and on my Facebook in particular are talking about this a lot. So I can feel like something's happening. I'm going to apply to all these different platforms. So I'm like Kermit the Frog, just I don't know. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
I'm like the typing cat, and I applied to a whole bunch of them, and of course the hype was already happening. It might have been right around like a day or two before Beeple, and I was looking, and all those platforms are like, wow, we got 5,000 applicants yesterday, and so nothing happened. But there was a platform called Foundation, and I was like, oh shit, okay, how do I get on this? And and I think I saw, it might have been like, I don't know, I'm getting the timelines all messed up, but it might have been like right around when James Jean just randomly dropped a piece on there, like
Yeah,
made a,
he did that. He did that before Beeple's big one, I think.
okay, yeah. So
I
it
think it was
was,
before then, yeah.
yeah, I
Yep.
think you're right. I think it was
Yep.
right around that, all that going on. And I
Yep.
saw that and I was like, oh shit. You know, and of course I thought, oh, all the artists that I know are going to be jumping on this. And
They wanted to, and they talked about it. Like every artist I knew, except Luke, basically were talking about NFTs. It was just like I was like in the gallery at GR2. I was gonna make a sign that says "No NFT talk" because everybody was talking about NFTs inside. It's like saying don't, you can't play Stairway to Heaven at a guitar store.
yeah, yeah.
I was thinking no NFT talk because it's all that was coming out of everyone's mouth, and I was like, dude, shut up. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to explain it. Don't want to hear it. But yeah, it was for a minute. It was insane the amount of conversation from everybody.
Right. And I remember what happened now. It wasn't the James Jean drop. It was Matt. I think Matt had some crazy like time drop for like 10 minutes and he made enough money to like pay off his parents' mortgage or something like that.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit. Okay, I better, like, to me it just felt like obviously like the money was very intriguing, as a, I've been a freelancer and a painter, entrepreneur for a long time, so I can't ignore that. But then when I started looking into it, I was like, wow, it's kind of interesting because it's a whole new fan base. Hopefully, it's a whole new fan base. It's new people that haven't really seen what I can do, and the thing that really got me was the work sticks around. Ideally, if the blockchain is still around in 100 years or 1,000 years, the work, in theory, is still owned by somebody and it's passed down from generation to generation. And because of the contracts, my great 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 grandkid could be making money from it still. And I thought that was, I thought everything was like weird enough and intriguing enough that I was like, I better at least try, because I feel like I'm gonna regret if I don't do anything about this. And I ended up like going pretty far down the rabbit hole, I think, at this at this point in early June. It's like I'm in pretty deep at this point. But
yeah, congrats. Well, I think I recall the first one you did something like 6 Ethereums or 7 maybe. I think it was, or was it more?
I think
can't remember.
I
It was
think it
something
was
like that.
I think it was like 8.
Was it 8? Okay,
I think
but
it was 8.
I remember I was like, holy smokes, this is technically like I think it was a painting that came out before, and it was quote just a JPEG of a painting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like really simple. I was like, oh, there's nothing moving or it wasn't a graphic. Sorry, it wasn't a motion graphic. It was really just a painting.
Yeah, it was a painting that it was a high res scan of a painting,
Mm-hmm.
and it still is a high res scan of a painting, so it's going to be around forever.
Wow.
I like when I first got to back up a little bit. I was looking at Foundation, and I was chatting with another artist, and it's this artist Hydro 74, who's he's, I don't want to call him a graphic designer, or he doesn't really do graphics. I mean, it's like this beautiful art that he's creating, but he's also he's a designer. He does a lot of stuff for companies, logos. And I was asking him about it, and he's like, "Do you want an invite?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it changed my whole." I was like, "Wow, this is," because I couldn't get into any of them. And his advice to me was, because I'm like, does it need to be animated? Like, I was so new. He's like, no, just put up what you do. And it was very like freeing, because I was like, well, okay, I can be a part of this, and I can play in this realm, and maybe I don't sell anything, maybe I sell a few things, I don't know. And yeah, like I put that piece up and I advertised it, and I think nothing happened for like a couple hours, and then I was like, I got a bid. I got it's almost like fishing. Like you're like, I look, the bobber's moving, you know? And it's, it's kind of funny because it's like you kind of want that feeling again. It's almost like a drug. I mean, I don't do drugs, but it's almost like, it's like when you get like a high and you're trying to recapture that, but it's never gonna be like that. I mean, maybe it will be, but I think that was like, I think that very first sale might have been the high point of my NFT
Wow.
career. Well, no, I mean, I'm not saying like things might not sell for that much again, or I might not, you know,
But it's that feeling, right?
it's that feeling.
Wow.
It was like,
yeah, because
it was just like it's like when you go to, I'm sure Luke has experienced this. Well, you've experienced this too, Eric, but like when you have a gallery show and you're not sure how it's going to do, and then you find out that everything's sold.
it doesn't happen too often, but okay.
No, but I mean, it's
your mind. This sounds like the first time I ever sold a painting. Like
right.
the very first time I ever sold a painting at like in a Cannibal Flower Art show. It was,
yes.
You know, I was like, you know, I was just kind of like, what? Like,
well,
and why is there a red dot there?
Just to go back, I've never had a show where everything's sold, but I've had shows where, you know, 80 to 90% of the paintings sell.
And then that's awesome.
And but I'm sure both of you have experienced that kind of feeling, and it's like,
oh sure,
it's a feeling of like wow, I just made a lot of money, but also like people love this stuff, and what I wasn't sure about, people are down with, you know. It's like, it was a really good feeling.
The door has officially opened to you and the NFT community.
Yeah. So what negative, did you get any negative kind of, I don't know, comments or whatnot? Because James Jean had a lot.
Yeah, I mean, James Jean has a lot more followers than I have, and I think, you know, I don't remember what his piece sold for.
158 Ethereums.
158 Ethereums.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's stupid. A lot.
So I mean,
but nothing compared to Beeple, or you know, nothing compared to Beeple. It's not even close.
Yeah,
it's not even in the same.
True.
It's not even close.
Yeah, but that's one thing that and I'll answer the question about the negatives, but that's one thing I found out in this world is it's very similar to the traditional art world, but the players are all very different. You know, the buyers, I should say the collectors, they're not from our art world.
Yeah.
They've never heard of Juxtapose magazine. They've never heard of Giant Robot. They don't know anything about, I guess. No, they know about art. They know about art. Okay. But they're from a different, they have a very different background, you know?
Sure.
And they haven't been following, I guess, I don't even know what the scene is called, like the kind of like the lowbrow illustration.
They're completely outside of it, right?
They're outside of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
They don't know Tristan Eaton. They don't know Mark Ryden. They don't know Tara McPherson. They don't know Luke Chu. They don't know me. And it's but they do know like the crypto OGs. So they know people that have been in that world for many years, and
like crypto punks or whatnot, right?
They know like artists that I've never heard of, like Hakatoa or Xcopy, or there's a bunch of them. I don't know why I'm blanking.
I haven't heard of those guys before.
You haven't heard of them because they're in a totally different world of art than our reality. You know, they've been showing in the virtual space for the last like 2, 3, 4 years, and ones on these platforms like Super Rare and even Nifty and you know, Known Origin, and they were the predecessors to what's going on now, and they're the ones who, you know, they'll put something out and it'll sell for, you know, 20 or 30 Ethereum, and which even that doesn't seem like a lot compared to Beeple, but they're doing fine. Those artists are doing fine.
No, it's because it's in they're selling quantity too, right? So yeah, they're good. It's a man. Yeah.
I think Beeple is one of those artists that people like to bring up Beeple. people like to bring up Beeple. Yo, yo, yo. I'm a rapper. But they like to bring his artwork up, I think, because they don't really like understand it, and just the sheer amount of money that he sold that work for. It's like a headline, you know. It's oh shit, you know.
It's like selling a banana taped to a wall, right?
Yeah, it kind of.
It made headlines, for better or worse. You know?
I wouldn't like even go that far. I mean, like I've seen,
but everyone heard of it. Like everyone now who knows Beeple, everyone now knows the banana on the wall, right?
Yeah,
you know?
but who's the artist?
But they don't know. But they don't know Luke Chu. But they don't know Luke Chu.
They don't.
You know, they don't. But they know the banana on the wall, right?
But like, who's the artist who did the banana on the wall?
Same guy who did the X's on the eyes of cartoons.
No, it's not.
Some guy. I don't know. Some guy.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying it's just some guy. You know, a lot of people don't know that guy either. They just know that the X's on the eyes, right?
Didn't that guy just? He right now he's selling an invisible sculpture. Is that the same guy?
I don't know.
I heard about the invisible sculpture that sold for $18,000.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a famous art piece, but you don't know the artist, right?
I'm holding it right here. Look at this. It's like it's dick shaped somehow. I don't know. Balls.
Don't sit on that one. Be careful.
Or sit on it.
You might break it. You might break it. You might break.
Might.
Anyway.
You might break. I don't know.
Might
break.
But you know the well, okay. So negative experiences with NFTs. Like, have there been any?
I mean, you know, I have a lot of very, I don't even want to call them traditional buyers because that makes it seem very old fashioned, but I have a lot of collectors who like to collect my posters and my paintings and my little pins, and I love them, you know, and I have gotten some flack from them because they're like, well, I don't understand it. What is it? You know, why would I want to pay for something that I could just right click and save onto my hard drive? So I've gotten a lot of that. And then I have to kind of like explain and try to tell them what it is. And then I've also got a lot of comments on the environmental aspect of using blockchain technology, the energy. And I usually don't try to argue that. I just tell people, you know, look into it because they're making changes. Because to be honest, I'm kind of like drawn on that too. I mean, it's, but I can't do anything if I don't make art on the Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum still exists, still using the same amount of energy, supposedly. And I'm not a scientist, you know. I don't know. All I know is
I heard all that energy, that energy argument, and I just kind of thought like, oh man, haters gotta hate. You know, like I mean, everything requires some degree of, you know, energy, and it's just kind of like, you know, like you're like, I mean, like, granted, like, you know, I kind of feel like the NFT market got really overstimulated earlier this year, you know, which is probably the thing that like kind of sparked some kind of concern. But like, you know, I kind of feel like it's also died down quite a bit. Like just that like, you know, hyper, you know, excitement over, you know, this new I'm using air quotes right now, art market that people that just opened up to, you know, the rest of the world, to the world that is concerned about, or that like dabbles in the crypto world. So like, you know, yeah, I can complain about fucking energy usage, but like, you know, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a fucking deal, because no matter what, like, you know, there's drives, you know, running somewhere in the middle of America, around, you know, or, you know, in the middle of random countries around the world that are storing all of our information, keeping the World Wide Web, you know, fucking running 24 hours a day, you know. But
yeah, that's a like a really, I mean, it seems like a new argument but it's been going on for a very long time, and it only happened because of NFTs, right? It's like, where was the complaint while Bitcoin was being mined 5 years ago? Like they had it on the news, like server farms, in China, right? Tons of server farms just using all that energy, but it only became a concern after art. It was kind of odd.
I think it became a concern after Beeple. I think, the Beeple auction was on every single news source around the world. And I think people were like anytime there's a big chunk of money like that involved, people are like, oh, what's that shit? What is that? How can I get involved? How can I make some money from that? Not just artists, like everybody was like, how can I make money? And then as soon as they kind of find out what it is, I think a lot of people felt like, oh, that shit's unfair. Why should that guy make that much money?
Right, exactly.
Something's wrong here. Oh, whoa. Here, I'm doing the Kermit the Frog thing again.
I think that happened with James Jean equally, right? He had,
I'm sure.
It was a lot. He had a lot of negative voices after he sold his first one, and it was energy consumption related.
Let me say something about James Jean. Like, I have the utmost respect for this guy. He's one of the best drawers and probably one of the best painters of our generation of artists. And he's going to get hate no matter what. He's so well known. He's so fucking good. He's going to always get hate. He's going to get hate from artists. He's going to get hate from people that didn't get the print drop. That's kind of how it works when you're that good. He's always going to get hate. And I'm sure he got a lot of hate from other artists that have some jealousy. And I think I'll admit it, I'm a little jealous of James Jean. He's badass.
Yep.
But likewise, there's a generation of people that are jealous of yourself too, and Luke, yourself, in my opinion, as much as you know what I'm saying. There's a ton who wish they were right where you're at. So it's kind of it's all relative in terms of like that, but just the amount of
the more popular are the bigger the target.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, how many Instagram followers does he have?
I think 1 million.
Okay. It's a fuckload. I mean, if you have 1 million followers, and if he's reaching, I don't know, like 5% of that with the Instagram post, you're going to have a lot of comments and a lot of hate.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I know Tara McPherson had the same thing. She had a lot of hate on her social media. I did too, but I would just delete the comments.
Wow.
Which is because some of them were really really hateful, and people were getting into crazy arguments, and it's like, shit, I just make art, let me just make some art
and try and make a living, right?
Yeah, pay some bills, so I didn't delete all the comments, but when they got very heated and where people were just like fuck you, fuck you, I'm unfollowing you, I just feel like yeah, you don't need to be on my Instagram or my Facebook, bye.
Easy. Yeah.
Oh, it literally it came to that. It literally came to, fuck you, Jeff, I'm unfollowing you. You fucking destroying the environment with your JPEGs.
Well, yeah, because early on in my I guess my art career, I was doing a lot of kind of like environmental themed work with like robots rampaging through forests, and there was kind of like an environmental aspect to it. Sure. And so I think a lot of my early fans were but of course my work has evolved. And
wow,
my work encompasses a lot of different things, but yeah, there's a lot of, and just I think just being in the arts, there's a lot of people that are very very big environmentalists, and I would like to say I'm an environmentalist as well. And the research I did, it didn't seem like by not doing NFTs it was going to change anything. So I kind of saw the whole thing as like, this is a really good way like I was saying earlier, to reach new people and to even like try new tech. Like I'm starting to look into, um, you know, creating my work in a 3D environment. You know, taking one of my skulls. I already know what it looks like on the other side when I painted it. I know how these things move, and I know kind of like how it, you know, if I could animate it with my brain, I would do it. I'm sure, Luke, it's the same for you. You know how your characters move, you know how they grunt, how they, you know, whatever they do.
Yeah.
You know the sounds they make, you know the smells they exude.
Right.
You know
Yeah, no, well, yeah, of course. Like that's especially like since mine, anyways. But you're doing 3D stuff now.
I've been playing with like today I made a post like, hey, what do I need? I'm on a Mac. What do I need? And like a million of my friends got back to me saying, you need this, try this program. And so it's actually something I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to kind of like go through and analyze everything and like take notes. And, you know, there's like free programs like Blender for the Mac. And yeah, I do want to see, I guess, my work in a 3D environment, but maybe not, like sometimes I'm like 3D on a screen, it's still flat. You know, like how can I take this shit into like the metaverse? How can you like go visit a gallery of my work where you go into my world, you know? Or like there's things to talk to. There's a giant owl that hisses at you or something, and then it shoots I don't know, blood all over you or something. That's horrifying. That's fucking horrifying.
But it'd be amazing. It would be amazing to see. But like you're right, there is this kind of like wall that exists, you know, known as the screen that we're actually looking at. And it you know, even with like, you know, things like what are those goggles called?
Like 3D. The AR, is it like Oculus or something like that?
Yeah, like even with like an Oculus, like it's still like, you know, there's still a barrier there. You know, it's hard to fool the eyes, and but you know, I think that's great that you're like, you know, like using this time to like full on like experiment outside of the traditional like painting world. You know, that this actually kind of begs the question. Like I feel like it's been a long time since you've had a solo show or anything like, or something like that. Do you have any plans on like, I mean, to like kind of get back into the gallery world, or like, you know, even participate in like?
I do. You know, the last solo show I had was, I want to say like 3 years ago. It was at the Lancaster Museum of Art and History. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was 2018. And then, you know, it kind of coincided with the gallery that I've been showing at for a long time, Jonathan Levine Gallery. You know, he had to shut down. He declared bankruptcy. And that was really kind of like, I guess, kind of like the main place I was showing at for maybe 4, 5, 6 years, maybe 10 years prior to that. I mean, I had little shows, like I showed in some other countries here and there at other galleries, but in the US, he was my main gallerist. And so I kind of didn't have a place to show. I moved out of my old studio. And the third thing that happened is I started, and that took quite a bit more of my time than I thought. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have summers and winters to just paint. What I didn't think about is like summer, it's hot as fuck in summer, and I'm doing like family things, and so it's like I think I went through about a year and a half, you know, before COVID, just drawing a lot. And to be honest, I was kind of burnt out also. You know, I'd been going and doing shows since about 2000. So it was like, I don't know, 18 or 19 years of like doing shows. and I guess 18. I would have been 18, and I just felt like I needed a break. And I was going to take like a 6-month break, but it ended up being, because of COVID too, and just being uninspired, not visiting anyone, not going to any museums, and I don't want to say I was like depressed or anything, but I think it was just a fucking hard year.
Yeah.
And I just haven't been inspired. But I do have a whole sketchbook full full of ideas, and I'm looking at them, and it's pieces that I want to paint. But now my brain's all fucked up. I'm like, do I make these into NFTs? Do these exist just as paintings? Like, what are these for? And I really only talk to my wife about art stuff, and she's always like she's a really good listener, and she really like puts things in perspective. But she was like, yeah, you've been saying the same thing for a couple of years now about how you just, because I always go, I just got to get painting. I just got to start painting again, and start working on some projects. And I mean, I'm still not super inspired in a way, and I don't have the best spot to work in.
There's nothing quite as inspiring as a deadline.
True. And I have a whole list of galleries to approach, but in my mind, I keep going, well, I need to have at least one of the paintings done. I need to have one done. But I had like a whole 4-year plan where I was going to do, my first year was going to be spring. Every painting was going to be based on spring. It was like symbolic of a new beginning for me. And I had shit planned out. I have a lot of the drawings, and I bought all the materials I need, and everything's ready. And I was going to get like half the show done, and then I was going to shop it around to galleries that I felt like were out of touch for me. So I was like, I'm gonna reach for the stars. I'm gonna hit up like the bigger galleries, but I want the work done so I can like propose it to them. I know that's probably not the way it's done, because really you need to know someone. But I figure I have enough contacts, I could kind of like figure shit out. But yeah, I had all that shit planned out in December and January, and then COVID hit in March, and it just killed all the momentum I had. So I'm hoping that I got through another kind of like tough semester. I'm hoping like to really like hit the ground running now. I kind of know what to expect this summer and next semester, and yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna stick to the plan.
Is there any word on when you guys can do in-person classes again?
Yeah, we're starting in fall.
Okay.
So we're starting in August, and they don't know a lot of things. Like I was at a meeting, and they don't know if masks are going to be required. They don't know if social distancing is going to be required. They even don't know if getting the vaccine will be required. I don't think they can require it, but there's a lot of uncertainty. But the plan is to be back on campus, which is really exciting for me, because I get to teach watercolor painting, which I love. And it's we do field trips, we go paint nature.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. I don't think I've ever seen either of your charcoal or watercolors before. Like, I think I mostly just see like your canvas work, some like drawings on paper, and then maybe some of the like, oh, actually, you know what? This brought up this inspired a topic that I wanted to ask you about, because it has to do with Detroit. Your mural with Max.
Oh, okay.
Number 2. Like
right.
There was some issues going on with that, if I recall. I'm not sure whether or not it's been resolved yet, but like I was wondering whether or not you could like talk about that, because from my understanding, it had something like Mercedes shot an ad in which included your artwork without permission and or credit.
Yeah, yeah. I can talk a little bit about that, but it did get solved. It did get resolved out of court, and it was yeah. To back up a little bit, that was a wall that Max 242 and I painted a number of years ago in Detroit, and it was used by Mercedes-Benz as kind of like they drove by it, and they took some photos, and this photo wound up on some magazine covers. It was on their Instagram. It was on all their social media, their Twitter, their Facebook, and they actually had it as a press pack that you could download for that event. It was like, I think it was like Detroit Auto Week. I want to say like 2018. So we got a lawyer, and the lawyer went to Mercedes-Benz, and then I'm not exactly sure what was said, but we got sued right after that.
They sued you?
They sued us. They sued us saying
for what?
Claiming that we didn't have the rights to the work since it was public.
I see.
Their side was saying, well, it's a public piece. It was on the streets. We had a permit from the city to shoot there, so your copyright is null and void.
But this sounds like something that would be either landmark or had to have been done before. This can't be the first time this has ever happened.
It's happened before. It happened on a Batman movie where whoever designed the architecture sued whatever studio it was, and they won. Or wait, no, the Batman movie won. So that's what the other side was using as a previous
as an argument against
it, and that was with architecture. So it almost did go to court, but there's most of these cases don't go to court. Like there was the Revoke H&M case that was solved outside of court, or settled outside of court. There's been a lot of these. None of these go to court, because
most things like this don't go to court. It's the idea is just to get a settlement somehow,
right.
Somewhere. I don't know, but yeah.
Right. So, but it did look like it was going to go to court, because, and I can't really talk about it, but they were very much playing hardball, the Mercedes-Benz lawyers. So they proposed, like our guy, and they worked back and forth for a long time. We had a mediation right before COVID hit, and it took a long time and a lot of dealing to get things settled. But yeah, it wasn't. I can't talk about what we got out of it, obviously.
Wait, so it was settled in your favor?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Well, how big of a happy face? A little bit, or like a big happy face?
It was like a straight. It was a straight face.
A straight face.
A straight face. Because like what they say with mediation is like a good mediation is when both sides are unhappy
or happy, one or the other.
Right? Yeah, but both sides.
One or the other. Yeah.
Both sides feel like. I mean, yeah, ideally you want it to be like both sides are very happy, but I don't think that's how it works. I think
no, usually it's both sides leave angry or unhappy means it came out great. If one side is happy, one isn't, then it was very unbalanced, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had to pay something, and we got some money.
And did the lawyers get some money?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So did they walk away? Okay, so did the lawyers have a big happy face and you had a straight face? And I don't know, Jeff, you froze at a convenient time, but
no, I think
the lawyers went, yeah.
Well, you guys all froze to me too.
Oh, okay.
But the lawyers won at the end of the day.
The lawyers won.
They always do.
I mean, I would highly recommend our lawyer, Jeff Gluck. He did an amazing job. But yeah,
does he specialize in art or cases like this?
He specializes.
Copyright?
Yeah, he specializes in copyright cases.
Gotcha.
Commercial copyright. So
because of this case, Is the future different for artists who paint murals, or is it going to change
No,
anything?
no, it didn't change anything.
It's because it didn't go to court, right?
Yeah, it didn't go to court.
Hmm.
So they can't really. I mean, and no one knows. Only we and and the lawyers and Mercedes-Benz know the settlement. So
Right.
So you can't really say, oh well, look what they did over there. I mean, I honestly, I'm sort of talking out of my ass because it was a really crazy process, like to be there in the room with like lawyer with the mediator going back and forth, and it's kind of like what I read about before I went in there, where the mediator is going to come in and be like, they're offering you like $100, like that's, or they're going to sue you. It was like that sort of thing, and then we're coming back with like some crazy high amount, and then everyone is stalling like, oh, we know what we're going to do, but let's wait like 3 hours, let's let them sweat it out. It was crazy. It was really interesting and fascinating.
I've been in one before, so I kind of get it.
What was it for?
It sucks anyway.
It did suck, to be honest.
Yeah. What was it for?
Because nothing happened in our case. It was like we had a whole day, like it was like 9 or 10 hours. And then
guess what? Your lawyers are billing what, $400 and something an hour, maybe $500 an hour. So he's like 10 hours. Oh, good.
No,
happy face.
Everyone was not happy with how long it was taking.
It sucks. All that sucks. All things, most things anyway, with law like this are they're never good.
No.
No, they blow. But anyways, congrats, I guess. Congratulations. I mean, well, it could have went the other way. So.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Cool.
they could have, like, technically they could have sued us and won, and then sued us for their legal fees.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, shit, that's got to be millions of dollars in legal fees that they would be charging us, because they had like a team of the best lawyers that Mercedes-Benz would hire, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is fucked. So everyone wanted to settle, though, because it was also like right when no one really knew what was going on with quarantine, and we didn't know if it was going to be like the plague and people were going to be like dying in the streets and shit. It was that couple weeks into the craziness.
So where's the mural today? Is it still there, or did it get painted over?
It's still there. Yeah.
It's a great mural.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are the ads still viewable? Like, are those?
No, they took everything down as soon as they were contacted by the lawyer.
Oh wow.
So, but there's still some things up, because the image went out to so many places. They had it as their press packet. So every like Mercedes-Benz dealership around the world could use that in advertising. They could use it on like their own magazines they were sending out to people, and so it's potentially still out there.
Wow.
But I think part of the settlement was they have the right to have used it for all those things. So we can't resue them if that artwork is used for anything. So it was a trip. I probably said too much already.
I remember when that was happening, because like I think you weren't the only artist that was in this lawsuit. Like a lot of other artists, who were part of that, like Detroit, Eastern Market area, who had their artwork used in part of in some sort of Mercedes campaign, were part of that lawsuit.
Oh, so there's more than just you and the other artists. There was actually more, right? I thought I read about this from somebody else aside you, Jeff, but I can't remember who it was.
I think Denial from Canada was one of those artists.
There was several artists involved, because are we breaking up?
No,
you're fine.
Okay. There was several other artists around, because they pretty much drove the car around and kind of like took shots, and then
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then in your lawsuit part was only for you? Like, did it include the other artists?
I can't really I don't want to get into like the specifics, but yeah, it was. Sorry. Yeah, I don't want to get. You know how stressful that was getting sued by a big company like that.
No, no, no.
I don't even want to say their name. It was like
You know, Volvo sued you. Those guys, Volvo. I'm kidding.
I had art galleries. I had art galleries that I worked with 10 years ago, who called me and said, "Hey, I have lawyers that want to know. They want all the information. They want like the Jeff Soto file. They want every piece that you've ever sold, and they want all the tax information." I mean, I had like Jonathan Levine. He got hit up. He had to provide every single painting that has sold over the last 10 years to them, and it was like galleries I didn't know. It was like strangers that I barely knew that I worked with. People that I did illustration work for, they were getting contacted by lawyers.
Wow.
So I would prefer not to.
I wonder if that was just to put. I wonder if that was just to put pressure, or I mean, they were just getting info to see what your income is or something. That's just so weird.
I read about it, and it's common. They want to see like what your value is.
That's just discovery. They call it discovery.
It's called discovery.
Yeah.
See, you've been through it, but it's if you win the lawsuit, and this isn't even about the lawsuit I was involved in. If you win the lawsuit, then they have to figure out how much money you get, and so they can let's say a car company, let's say Ford,
GM. Yeah.
let's say GM. They'll be like, well, this artwork was used for social media. We had it up for that week. How many cars did we sell in the markets where that artwork was? Okay, what's the profit we made on just that car? And they whittle it way down. So they're like, oh, you're getting like, look, we can only give you like $5,000 based on what you make for what your artwork sells for.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe Ford sold a fuckload of cars that week, or GM, or whatever our example is, and then you're getting a percentage of their profits. But you're getting a percentage of their profits. That's one way they figure it out.
I wondered. So, with the news I read from somebody else, I wonder if were there separate lawsuits based like that you heard of?
I mean, was
there a whole bunch of them at the same time? Because
I think
it sounded like there was a whole bunch going on.
I think there are a whole bunch of them at the same time.
Companies like car companies are getting sued constantly by a bunch of different people. All the time.
Sure, but I mean, I'm talking about the same situation. Like in this minute, the commercial, my art's in here, and there was a separate lawsuit for that. I think I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Shark Tooth? Was he one of them? I can't remember.
I think he does work with Jeff Gluck, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think there might have been multiple things going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. Yeah. But thanks for sharing. That was interesting to me. Whether you can't, I mean, the information you didn't share was very interesting.
And to be honest, I don't know what I can and can't share, so I'm being extra cautious.
No. I don't need to know those details, but just the fact that, just a surprising kind of a situation that happened. Glad. I mean, I'm personally glad that you did something about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big relief when it was over, though, because you don't really think like you're going to be the one who gets sued with something like that, and then it's scary when a company of that stature goes after you.
Yeah, well, I think the idea is that they have what looks like unlimited resources, and they've been through it so many times that it's just like no big deal. But to you, it's happening once, and it's kind of it's stressful, and they try to add as much pressure as they can onto you. Which is why lawyers are so expensive. They're supposed to accept a lot of that stress, which they don't. But the idea is,
it's funny. Like the only other time I've been sued.
Oh.
Yeah, the only other time I've been sued. Yeah, we. I don't know if it's my internet, but
it's the car company. Each time they're pushing a button, going. Oh.
Well, the funny thing is the only other time that we got sued, my wife and I, was we sold a car, and the guy who bought the car, he was a friend of ours, he didn't re-register it, and then a year later it got in a car accident, and we were still the owners. So, and that was almost more stressful because we didn't have a lawyer. We were like, you get served, and they just give you a big thick envelope, and we're like, oh, what the fuck? What do we do with this?
You'd think that the driver would be sued, not the owner of the car in a situation.
Well, he got sued too.
Of course. But but what does this have anything to do with you at that point?
It was a fucking mess because like 3 cars smashed into each other, and they were all suing. You can only sue the person that crashes into you. Right. So someone hit and it bonk, bonk, bonk. And
I've been in one of those. It's not fun.
Yeah. And we were so stressed out. And then I think we hired a lawyer, and it was like $100 for like a little 10-minute meeting. And he's like, oh, talk to your car insurance. And then and then we did. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll take care of that. We'll represent you. And it was Allstate. And I was like, wow. It's like, thank you, Allstate. You're so awesome. We love you. And we've been with Allstate for like, oh no, actually you know what? This is fucked up. This has nothing to do with art, but we're on this is an insurance thing with Allstate.
Okay, that's good.
And I'm gonna get resued by Mercedes-Benz. I'm gonna get sued by Allstate. We were out in Arizona. We were on a family vacation, and we were at Sunset Craters. Have you ever seen it? It's a giant fucking crater. It's like,
yeah, I've seen it. It's crazy.
It's so rad. It's so impressive. So we pull up, and like we're about to get out, and my kid opens the door, and it was windy, and the door went dunk, and it blew out like a fucking sail, and it smashed right into the person's car right next to us, and it left a dent. And we're like, shit. Like, we're like, what should we do? And I was like, we have to like leave a note. So we left a note, and of course we get a call from the people whose car it is, and they're like, thank you very much for leaving a note. It's really nice of you. And we felt good about it. And then like a month later, like our insurance went up, like it fucking went up so high. And they're like, oh yeah, it's because of the car accident. And we're like, yeah, but it was the wind. It was a act of nature.
It's a force majeure kind of situation, right?
Yeah. And I don't know. It's kind of a boring story, but we were just like, what the fuck? Bye.
It would have been cheaper if you just like paid for it yourself in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, we always joke. We always joke that well, we did the right thing once. If that happens again, we're just gonna go back up and park somewhere else. but I don't know. I think I'm too honest to do that. I don't think I could do that.
I have a tendency of like when I park in a lot, and I come back to my car to drop something off, and I see a car precariously close to my car, I will always take pictures of that car, the car next.
Oh, you do that? Oh, wow.
Yeah, just in case. Just in case.
Wow.
I mean, can't you just look and see if there's a dent first?
No, but like no, I mean,
you might do one in the future.
What if there's a dent later? Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. When you first get there.
Yeah. I get there first, I'm parked, and then I like have to go back to my car, and there's a car parked next to me, but it's really close to my car. I'm like taking pictures, and then just in case I come back to my car again and it's like scraped up across the side, because
that makes sense.
You got to protect yourself.
Yeah, you do.
But anyways, Jeff, thank you so much for doing our project on the bear. You totally broke up.
We froze.
Yeah.
Wait,
what'd you say?
I missed something. I just heard you say thank you, and I'm like, wait, are we ending this shit right now?
Yeah, it's we're coming up on the 1 hour 30-minute mark. Goes fast.
Shit. That's
yeah,
fast.
time went too fast.
Well, hey, wait before we go. I just want to say I just want to give props to Eric, because I think Luke and I were in like a clubhouse room and somehow it got like the conversation. I don't even remember how did that happen. It got we got talking about giant robot.
I think we were talking about galleries. I think like
I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I guess.
I don't think no, you were not there.
Oh,
there.
Props to me then.
Props
to
to
me
you.
for not being
oh,
in
no,
Clubhouse.
No. Props to you because like I was just thinking about all the different artists that have come through your space, you know, and it's just rad that you're still doing your thing. I think we all miss the magazine, but at the same time, it's, you know, magazines kind of aren't what they used to be. But I mean, I have a zine that I started, and I'm like, what the fuck is the point? Like, why do I want to make a zine? So fucking 90s, you know? But anyway, I just wanted to give you props, and I saw that you have Rob Soto show. That's going on right now?
Yeah.
Dude, like, I think I mentioned watercolor, and watercolor is like one of the things I love. He's just one of like the best watercolorists.
He's good.
I mean, his work is so fucking amazing.
It is.
And when did the show open?
Just Saturday.
Saturday.
Just
okay.
on Saturday.
I'm gonna look at your hours. I'm gonna try to make it down there because
just come down the weekday. I could always meet you, so it's no big deal. We could anytime. Yeah.
Definitely a show worth
Thank you.
In person, just because there's some sculptural-ish kind of elements. There's you know, it's definitely something to be experienced in person. Like the photos just don't do it justice at all. So
yeah,
the photos look pretty good to me. I was like, oh shit, you know.
But his watercolors are always so amazing.
And you know what's crazy? Like Akko's watercolors. Did I say your name right?
Also amazing.
Yeah, Akko, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She's really her watercolors are amazing too.
I had both of them out to speak to my to the art department at RCC over the last few years, and man, they're both like just amazing artists and really cool people. So yeah, I don't know if they hear this, shout out to them.
Probably not.
How many people are watching on the?
Not many. I don't know. I'm not even sure.
You know,
maybe a dozen or something. Not a lot.
Cool.
But they're listening in Thailand.
Oh yeah. We charted in Thailand.
Oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah, we've charted in Japan and we've charted in Thailand actually, just recently. But Japan too. I'm like, okay, we're in the top something of art. I don't know how that happened.
Of like the art podcasts in Thailand.
Yeah.
You know,
we've done it in Japan and Thailand.
People listen to our show than they actually watch it, but
it goes on.
I think
yeah.
Cool.
And also, a side comment. The painting you have in the background looks like a Souther Salazar, very old one. So, quick story about that. I have a painting that leaned up on your painting at his house. So he made 3, I believe, the exact same size, or maybe it's 2, the exact same size. I have one that's the exact same size that was like leaning right against that one because I saw it. I go, I want this one. He goes, that's Jeff's. So and I was like, well, I'll take this one, and I took the other one. There's another one, right? Yeah. So I actually have the same size painting, but just a different one.
They're
that was done at the same time. Yeah. Just so you know.
Was that piece done in a similar style?
No, it's no. It looks more like a step toward what Souther would do. You know, he's done since. Yours is a little different, right? That looks like it's just like a procession of cars. Mine's got it looks like a scene more so. But same size, same time. The artwork. So just so you know, yeah.
I think I remember it. I think it was he had 2 big 4-foot paintings up at Art Center. It was a scholarship show.
Yeah.
And I really gravitated towards that one. And
you took the one I wanted, by the way. So congrats.
You have good taste.
Yeah. I was trying to get that one, but I was like, well, I'll get the other one then. That's simple. Mercedes.
Let me give props to Luke as well. No, not to Mercedes. Let me give props to Luke. You know, like I think you had a show recently that was they had some controversial pieces in it, right?
Did I?
I think. Well, okay. You had one where a bear was doing like a slant eye.
Oh
thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah. For the AAPI show.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
I just know my friend Lewis Crow. So shout out to Lewis Crow. Do you know Lewis Crow?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay. He's a big fan of yours too, Luke.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that he was on a Clubhouse and he's like, oh man, they were giving him so much shit. And I was like, oh, I got the text like, an hour late and I missed it, but
it got pretty ugly for
Really? Wow.
on Clubhouse, because like, what's the thing where like, the thumbnail like image that you associate with the individual, like, so
Your avatar?
I call it the avatar, but like people have like some like these initials like PGP or some like whatever.
PTR, hold to refresh.
Okay, but like they so I was showing the sketch of that painting on my like avatar for and telling people to like look at it, and I had variations on it. I had like, one of them is just the hands pulling the eyes to a slant, and the other one was the eyes pulling the hands pulling the eyes to slant with buck teeth. And
wow,
like, and I wanted to know like are my instincts correct, where I was thinking like, okay, the buck teeth is just too much, like, I want to like, and so we kind of got into this conversation, and like there's this one guy who I guess got noticeably like annoyed by the conversation or uncomfortable by the conversation, because he grabbed like a shot, a picture of me that from Instagram, colored it yellow, gave me the slant eyes, drew a rice hat on it, and used it as his avatar for a second. And I was just
wow.
What
wow, okay. I laughed at it because I thought it was genuinely funny, but like on hindsight, it was kind of like, it's not that funny. So, but
damn, you had the hat on, huh?
Yeah, they put the rice hat on and everything. It got nuts. Wow. And now it is my that painting is my avatar for Clubhouse. So so wherever I go, it's coming along with me. Anyways, yeah, you love Clubhousing, right? You're on Clubhouse.
Sounds like you guys are on Clubhouse a lot. I don't use it at all.
Like maybe like once every a week, I'll kind of like jump in just to see, like, especially like the outsider art like group it's always kind of fun. It gets really wild in there. Like people rarely are talking about art. They're like just.
I mean, I do it like maybe once or twice a week. I'll just be kind of like something will pop up on my phone, and I'll be like, oh, like, I want to hear them talk, and yeah, it's usually it's not conducive to like being a family dad, really, because it's like all the conversations that are interesting are happening around like 8 or 9 o'clock. My kids are night owls, so they're hanging out, we're eating dinner, and it's like being on a phone call, or like it's like doing this, where like if I was trying to talk to my kids or my wife, I'd be like, oh, like, hold on, and I don't know. I like Clubhouse though. I like it after midnight. But I don't go on it a lot. It's just weird. It's like I have a hard time working and listening to people talk.
Yeah, I need something really curated and produced, sometimes like podcasts, while I'm working, or just music,
there's good ones. Like if you're interested in NFTs, of course, Clubhouse is like a really good place to get information.
Yeah.
But if NFTs are not something you're interested in, or it's boring, or then Clubhouse might not be your thing. Because to me it's like NFT central. It's probably like who I've followed, giving me that sort of thing in my feed. But so it gets boring sometimes.
I've added a lot of different artists that I would just talk to from Clubhouse, just it's introduced me to a lot of different people. So it's kind of Eric and I have been talking about doing a Robot in the Bear Clubhouse room. We don't know when it'll happen. But
I think you should. It's just, I don't want to sound rude, but be careful who you invite to come up and talk, because anytime I've created a room, or my friend Max, Max 242, we've created rooms to just chat. We invite a few people, and then it's very quickly it can be overtaken by like people that are very, very much like extroverts that love to talk. They love to be like the center of attention, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, we can't even get a word in, and then everyone knows each other all of a sudden, and then it turns into like a party room, and we're like, leave quietly, get the fuck out of here.
Wow. All right.
But yeah, I just wanted to give you props, Luke, for like, pushing the boundaries of your work, and I think like that's a really interesting thing to look at, like at racism and kind of like heavier concepts with your work. I like that.
Thanks, Jeff. Coming from you, that means a lot to me, because I was just every time I think of you, I reflect back to I think it was a black market show, like in 2003, 2004 or something like that, maybe 2005. I can't remember. And I always just kind of like think back at like when I first moved out here, and being introduced to what you do, and I was just going like, oh my God. Like, there's fucking Robotech shit in this. This is amazing. I totally fucking like, because I'm a total weeb. So like it's like that kind of.
Well, you probably grew up with Robotech, and
Absolutely.
You grew up. I mean, how? If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 48. I'm older than you.
Well, I'm 46. So I mean, we watched the same TV shows, and I know you grew up in like the Central Valley, right?
Yep, I grew up in Fresno.
It's not that different than Orange County and Riverside. It's not that.
It's not that different from Riverside, that's for sure. Well, maybe politically like Orange County, and environmentally like Riverside.
Well, no, I grew up in like the shitty parts of Orange County. Like Anaheim, Fuller. Not that they're shitty, but they're not like. I didn't grow up by the ocean or anything. I didn't go to the beach.
You mean like Huntington Beach?
Yeah,
that doesn't seem so sweet for me. I don't think I'd like it there, but okay.
I don't know. I mean, I grew up very inland.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, thank you again for doing the podcast. I hope that we could have you back on again soon. I'd love to dig in a little bit more next time with like the teaching stuff too, and like debating and the balance between being an art teacher and a full-time artist.
So much we didn't touch on, and it's only time flew on this one. So, but like I think like all of our podcasts are not one and done, man. The whole thing is you have to come back. Now that you're in the door, you have to be back soon. So that's kind of how we do it.
We'll do it in person next time too.
That would be amazing. I'll sing the fucking Robot in the Bear song.
Yeah. So how do people find you, Jeff? What's the easiest way, and where are you the most?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Jeff Soto Art. You can find me on my website, which has a hub to everything, and that's just jeffsoto.com. And I've been on Twitter a lot because that's kind of like the NFT space.
Yeah, Twitter.
So
what about Facebook? Because I think you post there too.
Yeah, I probably post on too many platforms, but yeah, you can just look up my name on Facebook. And
Facebook has a lot of the plant stuff. That's where I see that the most.
There's also a special plant Instagram that you have.
There is. There's a plant Instagram called The Soto Fish. So TheSotoFish.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice.
And then all of my plant. Oh no, did I?
No, we got it. We
got it.
Freeze?
Barely.
Did you get my my plant? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We got it.
Fucking technology.
I know.
Alrighty, guys.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, guys. It was really fun.
Tuning
in, and see you next week.
Peace out.
All right.